Running late. Running late today, Joe. Sorry about that, folks.
No, that's all right, Brad. No biggie. Happens to everybody, doing that big commute from the kitchen to the back study. Get lost on the way with honeydew territory.
Well, that's close. Very close. Very close.
Totally normal, buddy. Totally normal.
Now I'm going to choke on my tea. Oh, man. How you doing today, Joe?
Had a good weekend, man. It was,
Good.
relaxing. I like to watch sports sometimes these days. It's just, you look at it and you think, I was watching college football and some pro football, and I was thinking, it's just so nice to see these stadiums packed with people, cheering again. And you forget that, last year was sort of a halfway thing, and the year before it was like, the NBA and the bubble in Orlando or something with, and everybody had pictures of people's faces in the stands or something. It was just so good to see that. It's very refreshing.
Well, now that you bring up that nice segue, Ted Cruz took in a Yankee game.
Well, the one thing, the Yankees, they just love love honoring guests when they come to town. So
yes, they do. Shall we watch a little clip?
Oh, yes. But maybe we should warn everybody. It's big boy language.
Yes, there is. Well, why would we? Anybody that watches this show is used to big boy language.
Yeah, it's true. And I don't even know if this would be called big boy language. Let's just say it's fun language.
Oh, it's just good. Let's just watch this. And if you're a Ted Cruz fan, you may not want to watch this. So.
Yeah. Oh, cover your ears.
Fuck you racist piece of shit! Fuck you! Fuck you, man!
You suck!
You fucking suck, dude!
You're a disgrace!
You go to fucking hell, dude! Remember when Trump called your wife ugly? Remember that? Remember when Trump called your wife ugly and then you nominated him?
You're a disgrace
Fuck
to this country!
You fucking piece of
disgrace.
shit! Remember when those insurrectionists wanted to murder you?
Yo, go
You
vote!
ugly piece of shit!
Yo, go vote Trump!
Get the fuck out of New
Suck.
York!
Get out of New York!
Trump called your wife
We don't
ugly
want
and
you
you
here.
loved
We don't want you
it!
here.
You ugly
You
fuck!
suck.
Get the
You
fuck out of
suck.
here! Eat my dick, you asshole!
Yo, finally someone's shooting me.
Well, at least he's reading the crowd sentiment, right? He seems happy.
God, come to New York. Wow.
Yeah, they don't hold back, do they, man? I mean,
No,
kind of like
I
something
think
I
he's
said.
used to that.
Sometimes you reach out for the big apple, take a bite of it, and all you get is the core.
Yeah, that was epic New York. That is just epic New York. Perfect. Okay. Well, on that note, hey Joe.
I guess he's probably not polling too well in New York, is my guess, right?
Yeah, I have a feeling he's the numbers aren't good there.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have Giuliani to pull him through anymore.
There you go. That's it. On the good news front, though, let's pull this up because I'm going to share the screen here. At least in terms of, I don't know how I don't know what this guy's politics are like, but I need to get over here and get my shit together.
Yeah, don't forget we have Greg coming in from Shardium in about 8 minutes.
All right. So the man who wanted to make London a crypto hub is the next prime minister, man.
I'm liking it.
That's substantial news as far as I'm concerned. And opens up the door to folks moving from the US to enjoy a place that's going to be friendly.
Crypto London.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it just makes total sense. I hope they embrace the more edgier versions versus becoming like a central bank depository or something like that. I want it to be on the edge because they got the island, Brexit. Now you can uniquely differentiate. Why are you different from Europe? And boom, here it is. Start competing with Switzerland.
Yeah.
For financial services more. I mean, that's what I'd like to see. I don't see, like we said the other day, platform without a mission, basically. Just give them a mission.
Yeah. No, I'm look, I mean, I read a couple of things about him today. He's he does the typical politician pandering stuff, but the fact that, he wants to lead the way on this and he's now going to be the prime minister of the country, that's pretty good. First man of color or person of color. And
I mean, Bojo wasn't a person of color?
And the youngest prime minister since 1812, I read earlier today. So going to be interesting to see how he does. One of the critiques I read of him is that he's a little weak and kind of just goes with the flow and doesn't have much of a backbone, gives into the more extreme components of his party. But, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I hope he can get some meaningful shit done with crypto.
Look, London, UK, very multicultural society, hub of the empire, all of that. This guy's a perfect brand for London and UK. I mean, it's look, let's move on to these multicultural. I hope I'm not insulting anybody, but I like seeing this because it's aspirational for anybody who's immigrating to the UK to say, well, shit, Rishi did it. I can do it too. Instead of constantly feeling, less worthy. This is, it was like the one, I like that in politics when the main figure is an aspirational symbol to so many people.
Yeah. Totally agree, man. Totally agree. And look, I think it bodes well for all of crypto and for the country. Like, a country that takes the lead in welcoming it and encouraging it and fostering it is going to be in a really good place in a few years. So we'll see what happens. Good stuff though. Good stuff. We didn't cover this the other day, but evidently the Ripple won the fight to get the Hinman files. So that was all the emails and stuff that happened before the Hinman speech saying that Ethereum was a commodity. So, Ripple just continues to pound on the SEC. I mean, seriously, continues to pound on them. So, and another victory for them. So,
look, this is it. I'm glad they keep pursuing this. I'm just kind of interested to see how, when the SEC says ETH is not a security, that was proof of work before we got all these node issues and node concentration in the US and all of those new claims. Yep. So I'm a little worried this could backfire a little bit on Ripple just because, now the SEC can say, well, no, that was old ETH. New ETH is a security because the nodes are here. So you're still a security. I'm curious to see what their response is because I want this stuff defined too. Is it actually a security, or is it that people used fundraising methods that are, typical of security fundraising, and that's where they got exposed? The two things. One, to me, is that I think Ripple's exposure is more on how they did the raise, right?
Right.
Didn't they do? Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I don't know the fine points of it, but I do know that that's part of the thing.
But let's just keep this going until we get it settled. And I want to see those notes too.
Yeah.
It might have all this stuff that says why, because they're lumping BTC and ETH together at that point. Yeah. And now that it's not
parameters.
Yeah. So this is pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this is fun. Shit just keeps getting worse for Craig Wright. An unknown miner has taken 51% of the hash power for his chain, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, and has been feeding it consecutive strings of empty blocks, making the chain unusable. So I tweeted, kill it. Just kill it.
I love it. Super sound advice. You hire Brad, $150,000 retainer to come in and give you some strategic vision. It's just like Miro or somebody,
Oh,
it's
Craig Wright, you could hire me, Craig Wright. I'll give you some strategic vision.
Love to be a fly on the wall for that one, man.
Oh, I'll give Craig Wright some strategic vision. I feel bad for the people that believed in Craig Wright. I feel bad for the people that believed him. I feel bad for the people that invested their time, their money, their skills and talents into this chain. And it sucks. I mean, it just sucks to be misled. And most of them probably still don't think they were misled. But the one thing that cracked me up, I can't remember if it was in this article or the other one, where the BSV Foundation said they were going to take criminal action. That was it. We'll be pursuing criminal charges against the entities responsible. So they set up a network that could be taken over, and they're going to file criminal charges against somebody who spun up enough mining power to take it over. So just,
yeah, this is just one of those, these guys just want to live in court.
Yeah, exactly. We should launch our own Bitcoin BSV, Brad's strategic vision.
There you go.
That was James Strickland. James said Brad can dress like Richard Hart in Gucci tracksuits.
There we go. All right, Scooter. I like that, man. That's what we all want to see. Come on, Brad. Give the people what they want.
I saw a great tweet today. Oh, I got to find it too about Richard Hart, because somebody said
I saw one of those circulating around too. What was he wearing? It was
I
like
think I think I retweeted it. Hold on.
it was a body glove kind of suit of some type.
Yeah, but it was.
I didn't recognize
hilarious. Yeah, here it is.
What?
I'm gonna put this up. Let me. This is,
oh yeah, here it is. Good. Yeah, I'd love that.
what do you guys think of my Halloween costume? I'm going as a clown. This is Based Carbon that said that.
I know. I mean, he's stuck. He's stuck in his brand, basically, his shtick. He can never escape it.
It's brutal.
You know?
Eamon says
sort of
freaking pathetic. Oh, he's talking about BSV suing someone over mining too much, laughing out loud. Yeah, it is pathetic. Anyway, but I mean, I would put Richard Hart in the same group as Craig Wright. Like, the cult leaders, bombastic, basically scamming, all of their followers. And it's
well, look, people want
painful to look at, isn't it?
Human nature is to want to believe in something. I mean, otherwise, why would there be religion?
It's sad.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, you pick things to believe in and trust people. Well, most of the time, someone like this, the guy on the screen, is not always going to have your interest first. Yeah, it's not going to have your interest first. Okay.
That's
right. His first. Otherwise, why would he be dressing like that?
Exactly.
So, just think of that. Anybody. That's why we always say, listen to 20 people. Don't believe any one person exclusively. You won't get sucked into these cults then.
Exactly. The one thing you got to say about Richard Hart is he doesn't hide that he's spending all the money he's making on people. Like, the guy is not afraid to say, he's
flamboyant, I mean, he's kind of like the Liberace of BitBoy, basically. I mean, it's like he's not screaming at people and stuff, but he's definitely got his own little quirky shtick going,
to say the least.
I mean, it's not my style, but fuck, it'd be more power to him if he can get away with it, I guess, right?
Hell yeah.
I feel sorry for his followers in a lot of ways, but I don't know anything about his play, Hex. I heard people talking about it. I don't know what it does. All I've heard is negative stuff.
Ethereum fork trying to claim that it'll be able to do everything that Ethereum does and have all the same protocols. So
basically like a combination of Polygon and every layer 2 roll up with Ethereum. And
he just forked Ethereum. He's trying to do what Ethereum proof of work did. Eamon says, I'd pick scamming your followers over suing your followers. At least you can opt out of being scammed. Doing that with a lawsuit is expensive as hell. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really
very good point.
Really good point. DeFi Llama's at it again.
What was the new tool? I saw you talking about it over the weekend on Twitter. What was the new tool?
It's a tool that lets you find round trip lending strategies. And you can pick it by coin, and you can pick, the token you want to borrow into it. And then it shows you the path to doing it. And on here's look, 0 VIX. And it shows you I think I filtered. Maybe I filtered on this one. I don't know. And then it shows you the APYs in the LTV you've got to take and how much is in it. And, you know, it's another really cool tool by DeFi Lunch. You know, these guys don't stop. I don't know how many people he has on that team, but it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Actually, they have some kind of a show too. I didn't realize
I have a
that.
filter by project here. What's that?
I heard they have a show as well. Like I saw, I think you tweeted it, but
not that I know of. No.
Okay.
I actually talked to the founder about doing something together, and he's a bit hesitant. So, anyway,
are we not charging enough?
Why am I not getting?
Tell him you'll wear the Gucci tracksuit, man. Come on.
There you go. There you go. There we go. Toggle all.
Hey,
so
wait,
yes,
curious, with Greg, did we have him on for today, or was that tomorrow?
I thought it was today, dude. I have it in my
I
calendar.
thought so too.
Today.
I'm just surprised. Okay, I hit him up in Telegram. I thought it was today as well, but if not, we'll figure it out.
Oh, did you send him the link? We have to send
I
him
thought
the
when
link.
he registered through your scheduling service,
it doesn't come automatically from StreamYard. Send him the link.
Okay.
Go to invite at the bottom of the screen. He's probably sitting in a Google Meet that the calendar scheduler automatically set up.
All right, hold on.
There's no way to do that. There's no way to automate the links in StreamYard, unfortunately. All right. So cool new tool by DeFi Llama. You know, you can see strategies here. I have never heard of Moonwell Apollo or Zircon Gamma, but you know, here's one Frax to mover to W mover, 221% on the round trip on this one. So anyway, I'm you know, these guys just do not stop producing great tools. And I suspect that at some point they'll start doing some integrations of these, but there's a link directly to the chart. I mean, to the protocol where you do the strategy. Anyway, very cool. I'd like to see this a little more developed, give you more specific steps on it to get to that, but at least it tells you what you need to do and then you can figure out from there. So good to see. Binance US taps the most feared man on Wall Street for a new investigations unit. Former FBI special agent BJ Kang has been onboarded with Binance US to steer a new investigative unit aimed at finding and stopping illegal activity. So all the centralized exchanges are trying to get their ducks in a row, you know, hire the fearsome investigator to make sure there's no money laundering or whatever going on your protocol.
Can't Binance US.
Yeah, smart move.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, it makes sense. It'll establish a reputation if you give him the authority to do what he needs to do, all that good shit. So it's good. It's good. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if they're already, I mean, I don't know what he's investigating. Is he investigating like the customers of Binance US?
I think the idea is he'll be the one, you know, required to try to find the instances of, you know, money laundering insider trading. Whatever.
So he's going to looking at the staff too. Okay, got it.
Who knows? Let's see what he says. I actually didn't read the article, so I don't know.
But you're right. Everybody's, you know, bowing up for the regulatory fight.
Of course.
Hey, we're on top of this.
He's known for his high-profile investigations into securities fraud and insider trading. Once dubbed the most feared man on Wall Street, comes as the exchange is facing probes from the Securities and Exchange Commission, which reportedly requested information regarding two companies supposedly acting as market makers for the platform. So they're gonna, you know, they're gonna have him going after money launderers, or whatever. So,
well, anybody promoting things like that, treating everything like a security. No, I mean that's a sound move, survival wise.
Yeah. A bunch of Y Combinator alumni got together and formed a DAO. They're going to create a Web3 fellowship program. I think it invests $25,000 grant into Web3 projects. I mean, that's it's called Orange DAO. You know, Y Combinator founders are really well-trained. And I think it's cool that they're doing this. It's in partnership with venture capital firm Press Start Capital. They're going to provide mentorship. And, you know, they'll have a whole demo day. So I think it's essentially kind of like a Web3 competitor to Y Combinator. but not offering nearly as much money, but they're also not taking equity. So conceivably, the connections of these founders that were Y Combinator graduates are going to be pretty strong, and that demo day might be pretty good. So if nothing else, this is a great way to make some great connections. So if you got a project idea, I would definitely look at Orange DAO as a potential a place to build your project, because those kinds of connections can lead to the kinds of investments you might want if you're going to seek venture capital.
Yeah, and also it's probably going to put you right into the Y Combinator funnel as well for where all their deals go in general.
Yeah, yeah.
So you get a lot of exposure. I mean, that's a great find there, Brad.
Speaking of building, I found this really cool. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but Figment is one of the largest staking providers in the world. They've launched an API. So now any project can add chain-based staking to their protocol. Right. So, one of the things I was talking about recently was utilizing our mean reversion indicator at material indicators to do a DCA strategy, or to do the day trading strategy where you're trying to gain 1.25% to 2.5% profit. But if a coin bleeds out, only trading on staking based coins, so BNB, Ethereum, etc., Matic, and then dumping those into a staking. Right. So that's the kind of strategy that this API would allow you to do. You basically can set up liquid staking or full-blown validator node staking through Figment, and add it to your protocol. It could be a nice revenue stream. Maybe you take a percentage of the staking rewards that come in, whatever. But to me, it makes a lot of sense, because I think it makes for a safer play for some projects. So that I don't want to talk about right now. This was interesting. I haven't taken a deep dive into this. This is a project called Antifinance. It's automated testing for smart contracts. So I assume they're kind of taking, we've talked about this before, Joe, taking off the shelf problems that occur in a lot of staking, a lot of audits and smart contracts, and building a system to test against those contracts. So it's not a full-blown audit, but essentially, they test to show faith in the underlying smart contracts. So it's a way to test smart contracts that you're deploying. So
cool.
All right. Let's see. Oh, I've been taking a deeper dive into ChainlInk. I had a challenge on Twitter. Got in a conversation on Twitter about the centralized nature of ChainlInk, and the Link Marines all believe that ChainlInk will be the one and only infrastructure of all of Web3. To me, that sounds like a very dangerous thing. I want to see a lot more players in the infrastructure place, and I want to see a lot more decentralization. There seems to be kind of a cult fervor behind, I believe the founder's name is Sergio. And so I'm interested in that. So I've been trying to dive in and understand better how ChainLink's working and what it does. CoinDesk.
You learned anything?
I have. It's interesting. I'm not ready to make any decisions, but it's interesting. CoinDesk did a breakdown of Do Kwon's recent interview, and they said almost every sentence Kwon speaks during the interview contains some degree of deception, denial, or evasion. His mouth is a black hole that crushes the truth into dust. That's the best quote ever. Absolutely the best quote.
Yeah, don't hold back. Don't hold back on that one.
His mouth is a black hole that crushes the truth into dust. I mean, you can't get any more damning than that. So anyway, those links are going to be in the...
I like unapologetic sociopath myself. It's always kind of one of those ones you want to put on your business card, let's say,
That's classic shit, dude. Classic shit.
I mean, look at this.
The fate of the world economy may depend on what happens to a company most Americans have never heard of. You said this. I don't know what this is. Oh, this TSMC, the world's biggest chip maker. Okay.
Yeah. No, I've been looking ever since the CHIPS Act or whatever passed, and then of course just cut off China last week to all chip technology, advanced technology. I started looking into this because we know that TSMC in Taiwan has got to be something that the Chinese have been eyeing. And, so how does this all work? And what the U.S. came down with new law, which basically banned any American from working with any Chinese person in the chip sector, basically. So they're all leaving China en masse. All the machines that sell the equipment to make the chips, 3 are in California, I think 1 in the Netherlands, and the 5th one, Canada, or something like that. They make the stuff that actually makes the machine that can actually make the chip. And then so in Taiwan is, I guess, where they sort of map out the new chip designs, for AI, quantum, supercomputing. And so basically we've cut all those chips off from China. And the only thing China gets now is kind of the entertainment chips, basically, the stuff that can't be used in guided missile systems or military applications. And they really have no option now, because you have to redesign the whole manufacturing process from scratch and then come up with a parallel technology to silicon chips that then roll out into massive platforms around the world. So they're really stuck. So this is an important company. Whenever you're thinking about the China-Taiwan issue or the US-China, this is a really important one to watch, because, supposedly the Taiwanese will blow up the whole thing if the Chinese invade. And so to keep it out of their hands. So this is just another one of these big battles going on right now in global society over what do we want it to be like in the future. So a very interesting issue to stay on top of. Yeah.
So speaking of that, Noah Smith, somebody I follow who's kind of economist, geopolitics, I'm not sure what is, but he gamed out an attack on Taiwan by China. And the thing I pulled out of here, I haven't read this whole piece, but I pulled it out from another tweet, is that there is actually quite a bit of gaming being done by the Department of Defense and a lot of other folks, saying that, in fact, it may be that China will attack U.S. bases in the region first to try to keep us out of defending Taiwan, which, that can't end up well. Good.
For China. Yeah. No, look, the response on that is basically parking lotting the whole eastern seaboard of China. That's the response to that.
Yeah.
China has 3 times tried to modernize, and every time they get to this critical junction where they push too hard and they lose everything. So to me, I like that. That's an interesting angle, because I've studied a lot of, Chinese philosophy, and specifically these like lessons that they teach all the kids, the fables. And one in particular I always remember was, there's one army on one side of the river, and, the other army rides up and is making a whole bunch of noise. We're going to come kick your ass. We're going to attack. We're going to fight. And then they all get up. The other army gets up and is like, well, okay, come on. And then they, go away. So they keep coming back doing that type of stuff 5 or 6 times. Think like the last situation with Pelosi, where they basically go screaming, throwing little hissy fits everywhere and run around and don't do anything. Well, eventually 5 or 6 times of that, the other army's sitting there and it says, oh, that's just those clowns again. And they don't even stop eating lunch. Well, then they cross the river and attack.
Exactly.
Okay. So that feeds into that theory right there about attacking U.S. bases. But to me, that seems like a suicide move.
It seems like just insanity, because, look, where does that end up? That ends up with 2 superpowers
going head to head.
And it's a nightmare. Somebody else tweeted today. I don't know where it is, but somebody else tweeted today that essentially the UN Security Council is made up. 2 of the 5 countries in the UN Security Council are headed by dictators with nuclear weapons trying to save their own and their country's reputation.
Yeah.
So
China, obviously, with this coronation of Xi as emperor, sun god, whatever you call him.
Oh, that shit last week.
Yeah, and you read all the surveillance tech there and everything that they're doing. It's friggin' Blade Runner, man. I'm sorry. It's just crazy shit they're trying over there. Yeah, and that is what we don't want.
Exactly.
The Chinese people, as I remember, were very much like all of us, They just want to do the same thing, have families, make some money, live in peace. And so I just got a message from Greg. He might need to bump this, it looks like.
Okay. Well, it's a little
Yeah.
late now because I got 1 o'clock hard stop today.
Yeah. So no problem. We'll reschedule tomorrow.
Yeah. My
But no, so for tomorrow, quick. Okay. So, when I look at all of this, the game is really, they can't get their deep water stubs out past the first island chain yet. Now, those are the ones that would be the missile boomer subs, nuke missiles.
right.
They can't get those out into deep water like we can and the Brits can, and I think the Russians can, which gives you that whole sort of question mark of where are all those nukes pointed at me? And I better just slow my roll till I figure out what's going on. Well, China can't get those out there yet because, they got to get past Taiwan, the Philippines, and Okinawa, and Japan, or South China Sea through all that, which is super shallow. So to me, I think all of this stuff about, the Taiwan thing is that I don't think that they really want to take it militarily. I think that it's just they're stuck back into a corner with their own people about reunification in one China and all of that. And they sold this message.
Yeah.
And now all the people are believing, it's their own equivalent of like, the American mythology that people are pushing back on now. Hey, why didn't I get mine? The same thing's going on there or getting ready to go on there because there's a lot more people there and there's a lot more people getting a lot less than here.
Right.
So I think that they're really backed into a corner, and I think attacking a U.S. base would be that's like a Putin level strategy. Oh, I'm failing, so let's nuke something, and get everybody super pissed. It just doesn't make sense. You got to sort of, China's game right now should be in my mind, would be to, I don't like the current government systems, the surveillance and all of that.
Of course.
But their thing would be to wait it out a little bit at this point and see how things shake out with Russia. There's no need to make a big China move at this point because you might find that you're going to get into a bigger deal here with the US and everybody else as the Russia stuff settles versus, being the last one holding the Putin flag.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so that's what I would caution them on. But I think that's the way they are. I'm sure that's what they're thinking. They're not going to commit until they see who's winning, who's going to win. And they're not going to get dragged down with either of them. So, that's my thing. I don't see that hit on a U.S. base, but you never know.
Never know.
I'm assuming that they're rational and practical people, but at the top, when you're in a corner, people do strange things.
Yep. Hey, watched the Kanto Demo Day, Hackathon Demo Day. So a bunch of projects had 28 days. I kind of went in with low expectations because, look, Kanto's, I don't know, 85, 90 million in TVL.
Yeah.
And it's growing, but it's still brand new. Right. And so I wasn't expecting a ton of high caliber projects and was totally blown away. Like just amazed at the quality of what was created. Real quick, there's a project called Thoth, which has a backstory about what Thoth means. I don't remember all of it, but anyway, they're creating DocuSign on chain. Right. So a complete DocuSign system with some pretty cool integration ideas that they're planning and some cool stuff they're doing. Prompt is a platform to help projects launch NFTs, and it's basically crowdsourcing AI generated NFTs. So finding people that are really good, they give them a general idea of what they want and they put up some prize. And then a bunch of people use Stable Diffusion to create the NFTs for them. And then it's a full platform that lets them mint them and deploy them and everything. Magnet is also AI generation of NFTs, but this is a one-man dev effort that created an entire platform, like a full-blown platform. And he claimed in the questions afterwards that he started this at the beginning of the hackathon. But this is a full-blown, finding similar NFTs to what you want, generating them with AI or loading your own in and editing them, minting them out, has a marketplace built into it. Really, really was powerful. NFT manager. I didn't get to see this demo, but it's supposedly an NFT marketplace. Kanto Swap is an actual DEX that I've been using on a regular basis. They have a cool little, they have a token associated with it, a cool NFT project associated with it. Kanto name service. So that's like ENS for Kanto. So I registered DeFi.Kanto this weekend from them. That project is launching the full-blown naming service publicly in a month, I think. This project, Kanto with a K, is a Pokemon-style slot machine game with really cool abilities to control the movement of your characters on screen, and got some interesting-looking gameplay. I'm not a big gamer, but it was interesting to see. Y2R is a standard auto compounding system, but it's integrated with the existing Kanto DEX, the Canting, Lendo, and staking platforms. So you can optimize your compounding, automate it, put it in and go. I still like doing my manual compounding because I miss manually compounding, but they're turning on the compound, they're turning, 1,200 to 1,300% APR in their system, just using the existing Kanto tokens in the Kanto system. And then this one was great. And I'm waiting. The founders are going to send me a video of it. So Meep Meep is a project, a game that was built around an NFT PFP series called Kanto Longnecks that has been going and selling. It sold out over the last month since Kanto launched. They created a really powerful game around it. Really cool. I mean, it's simple, but it's actually functional and has a full-blown UI. And like they took their NFT PFP project and turned it into something of value for people that hold the NFTs, and has a really good sense of humor around it. Their presentation video was so well done that I want to show it as soon as I get a copy of it from these guys, because it was really, really well done. Anyway, you guys can go to the tweet. I'll post a link to it and go and watch the entire demo day thing. But again, Joe, I was pretty impressed with the caliber of the projects that were lined up for it. So I'm excited to see what else comes in the next one.
Yeah, I wasn't at the hackathon, but I was in there over the weekend. And they just keep continuing to execute. Yeah. And because I'm looking at Shardium and ZK Sync and Kanto and all of these, next wave ones, let's say. And there's just vibrant communities developing in all of them. Yeah. And so when I look at this one with the public infrastructure angle, of course, we don't really see that anywhere else. And I think that's kind of the cool thing that's going to be their differentiator. Absolutely. If it does indeed function as like a public utility kind of concept. I like that a lot.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
So I'll have to look at all of these because I didn't know. Now, what do you think about these naming ones, naming services? I mean, I see these over at, Shardium and their Aptos, of course, and I think Arbitrum, all of them. I mean, what is your read on that?
Well, I will tell you this.
I know the ENS one was good, obviously. So
well, it was good because it's good when it's used for something, right? Just having the name, it takes some work to get it to like point to a website or point to something else, right? And so I think what's going to happen is, as users of crypto and the tools evolve, we'll have built in our browsers the ability to kind of navigate to things based on those domains, right? Right now, the services are not overwhelming what you can do with them, but there are a lot of people speculating, and the market for resale flipping domains on the ENS is really strong. So if the Kanto name service guys can actually put in some really cool and unique value, and they talked about a few things in their presentation, I don't remember the specific ones, but if they can build in some really cool ways to integrate with it, to utilize it in your project, to utilize it for content, whatever it is, I think they have a lot of potential. It's just a matter of these domains don't fit into the normal domain naming system that redirects our browsers to visit specific things, right? So in order to make that automatic, you have to do some configuration options in your browser, things that are difficult for the average person to do. Once those become part of browsing the web, then I think the options become really amazing. So we'll see what happens. I snagged DeFi because they were offering four character domains for cheap, and I was glad to catch it. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's because I remember the domain name, Rush back in 98, 99 timeframe, 97, when everybody was going for, investment.com, cars.com. It's been a constant refrain. I'm always sort of looking at it going, isn't it going to get past this where we got to do something like that you're just it's not going to be tied to a name, let's say, anymore.
Yeah.
And then I see this tech coming out, which is now we're back to, domain names again.
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of try to understand that. But I think I get it. If you could have your wallet and your whole online persona in that domain name, let's say, in your KYC credentials, if that's what you're going for, and other things like that, then, when someone hits it, you could immediately get whitelisted, let's say, or it immediately could take you to a quick, go to wherever your content information is about you, or, people can see what you're doing and who you are, versus, say, having your own personal website. It seems like it's fusing all of that together, which is kind of interesting to me.
Potentially. Yeah. And I think it has that potential to get there. I mean, you have to decide when you have one of these, whether you want to be doxxed or not, or it deals with your existing anonymity or not, but there's a lot of ways to deal with that. Right. So, I will say this, there've been a few folks who've done some not so great things who have actually been busted because they somehow had their ENS name tied to a wallet where they were, sending stolen money or whatever. There is some risk in that. Laura Shin tracked down the guy that did the DAO hack via his ENS, which was tied to a domain, which was tied to a wallet, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that was one of the ways that she was able to catch him and identify him. So real quick, just to shill project that I advise, my buddies at Walk-In have launched, from the beginning, when I talked to them and they were showing me their first project, I said, look, I think one of the things you need to pitch really hard to investors is to make this be a platform play. This isn't going to just be one app, right? You're not going to just create Walk-In. You're going to create a platform that makes use of tokens and the NFTs across all of your games and apps, right? So that you can repurpose them and reuse them. This is their first stab at it. This is called Walk-In Runner. And it essentially allows you to take your cathlete, the thing that represents you in Walk-In the app and accumulates your exercise scores and tokens and points, and utilize them and up them within this casual gaming app. Right. So it's just a game you can play for fun if you want to, but it can also impact how well your cathlete does in the regular Walk-In app, which allows you to earn more Walk-In tokens, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just glad to see them. These guys just, if you're that whole adage about the best startups are the ones with the best teams or whatever, this team is just top notch. And that's one of the reasons I was so willing to jump in and advise them is I was so impressed with the caliber of the people building and creating over there. So just happy to see them.
It would be interesting. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, look, what would be cool is if, the attributes of your character, I think you call it a cathlete. Is that right?
Cathlete. Yeah.
Cathlete. If by your in real life performance in the exercising sector, let's say, if you earn different powers or whatever for your cathlete by doing that. So when you got in that fight at the end,
that's exactly what happens.
Is that what happens? So that's cool, man.
I like that. when you're running, when you do your exercise, you earn these tokens, and then you get into battles within Walk-In, right? You get into battles. And you can use the tokens that you've earned to buy upgrades to your cathlete, or to go up to higher levels in the game to compete for higher prizes, more tokens, etc. So that is essentially the idea, is that there's an opportunity to augment what you have, make it stronger, make it faster, make it, more endurance focused, whatever, so that you can win more of the battles, so you can upgrade, so you can get more tokens. It's just kind of this cycle, this feeding cycle.
Yeah. What would be cool is if you could win like cheat cards too, like,
oh yeah,
extra 200 calories today.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Where you're fighting in these cage matches like this one coming up, and you're fighting for dessert, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, no,
that
that's
would be
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, that's
awesome. Cool, man. Those guys are killing it.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, that's all I've got for today. Oh, wait, you had a couple of other things. You want to hit some of these? I've got a 1 o'clock stop, but we got 12 minutes.
Nothing. Well, this was something of course, we were all following this, but yeah, they're gutting it, firing 5,500 people evidently. So, my feeling was that, look, here's 55 people coming out with severance packages, cashed up, ready to start up companies.
Exactly.
So fix social media, guys. You got to have some ideas being on the inside of this operation for so many years.
Firing most of the employees is not going to fix Twitter. That's for fucking sure.
No, not Twitter. But I mean, look,
he's going to create 20. Yeah, he's going to create 20 competitors.
Yeah. So to me, I think that's a good thing. And what else did I throw up?
U.S. chips.
Oh, that's a big discussion. And this is more about the e-rupee in India and how, they surveyed everybody and most of the people said they wouldn't use it.
Interesting.
Because they want to use cash. They like anonymous cash.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, that's intriguing.
Well, but if you tied it into, I mean, they do a lot of mobile money, right? So there's a potential tie in there on mobile. But yeah.
Oh, there definitely is. But I think it's funny how you take an economy of 1.4 billion people and you just see how much it is dependent on cash.
Yeah.
As a function. And there's not money laundering or anything like that stuff. It's just normal cash society.
Yeah.
And so I kind of found it interesting that they would trust the anonymity of cash over the e-rupee and whatever that potentially brought. But, just food for thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad they're talking about it at least,
Biden just clobbered China's chip industry.
Yeah, this is more on the earlier topic. This is probably the best article to read if you want to just spend 5 minutes and get it. But this right here, so look at this, these devices that make the chips are typically a fraction of the size of most viruses.
Wow.
So this is it's not nano level, but this is some pretty small machinery. And
That's incredible.
These chip building machines take years to build, cost hundreds of millions of dollars each. The Dutch company, which makes the world's only lithography machines capable of inscribing designs for the fastest chips, has produced just 140 such devices over a decade. So if you don't have that, you can't make chips.
14 units per year. Wow.
Yes. So, there's all this technology out there that we don't think about, paper mills. There's a company in Scandinavia that makes these giant factories. You drop by a forest and you're making paper. But here's one that, I just didn't realize how concentrated it was in 6 different companies that are all in, Europe, and maybe one's in Japan, but for the most part are California and Netherlands. And so, where they're talking about specifically how this inputs into those 2 spaces, artificial intelligence and quantum. So, just basically kneecapping them right there.
Right.
That's amazing. It's game on technology-wise. So, just something for everybody to pay attention to, which I think bodes well for India and Team India.
Niblet says Indians always favor gold because it can't be messed with.
Exactly.
And earlier, Eamon said that interview was wild. I can't believe Kwan said the things he did. Yeah, it's nuts, man. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
right, Joe,
so lots of big moves, stay on top of it all. It's a big week of econ data too, so coming. But I'll talk more about that tomorrow.
Excellent. We'll have Shardium on tomorrow.
No, actually, he's traveling, so he's going to reschedule. But we'll get him in soon.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I think we're going to have Zero VIX on OVIX. I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway, I think they're going to come on in the next few days. We'll see what's up.
Oh, good. Yeah, I saw that exchange. Told him to DM you.
Yeah, he did.
Whomever.
They did. The marketing team
let's get those guys on. I'm really excited about what they're doing too. Let's start looking at Team India a lot because it's either going to be Team London or Team India. Is going to be a good move or both.
Niblets, Eamon, Euphoric, James, thank you so much for participating today. We love and appreciate you and everybody that's watching and listening. Please let friends know about us. If you have a moment, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Click subscribe in YouTube and make sure and click the little bell so you get notified when new episodes come out. You can see all episodes past, now and past, for both Mission DeFi and DeFi Lunch at missiondefi.com. And please don't hesitate to take part in the discussion at r/Mission DeFi on Reddit, where you can talk about anything you want. related to DeFi. Feedback for the show, ideas for guests, or any other topic or project you think is cool. We have a shill thread. We have the ability to talk through project ideas. We all owe a little bit of feedback back to Niblets on a couple of things. So Niblets, by the way, we haven't forgotten about you. Joe and I were discussing you this weekend, but appreciate everybody being here today. Joe, have a lovely Monday afternoon.
Yeah, you too, buddy. And thanks everyone. And I'll be putting in, speaking of Reddit, I'll be putting in my top 10 lists of picks with some portfolio weighting on the top 10 list.
Nice.
Just haven't gotten to it yet, but I've been kind of moved FTT out and moved Aave up, but
look at that.
just
Look
give
at
it a
that.
heads up.
The big move. The big move.
But yeah, we'll see how it turns out.